welcome to another episode of This Podcast Fits Your Macros. This week we have another special guest, which I'm super excited about. Of course, I'm Coach Caileen with Team FFLEX, and along with me we have Coach Kiana, who is one of our newer coaches as well. Not the newest, but one of our newer coaches. So hello, Kiana. How are you doing today?
Hello. I'm good. I'm so excited.
Yes, it's exciting. You just got done doing like your first ever podcast a couple weeks ago. So now it's like you're on a podcast roll here, huh?
On a roll. I got all the first time podcast jitters out, and so we're ready to rock.
Sweet. Well, just a little background with you. You have a bachelor's in nutritional sciences, right? And you've been certified with NASM for how long has it been now?
Yeah, so I graduated in May 2022 from University of Wisconsin-Madison with my bachelor's in nutritional sciences and global health. And then I believe I've had my certified nutrition coach from NASM for maybe like 2 months now or so. And then I'm taking my certified personal trainer exam in 4 weeks. So I'll have my CPT from NASM as well in a couple weeks.
Best of luck with that. Gosh, I'd say if I could go back in time, I'd probably do nutritional sciences. I think it's so fascinating, but I did biochem back in the day, but I didn't also know that I'd be here right now. I thought I was going to be a dentist, but I digress. So anyway, we are talking about today being self-coached versus having a coach, and, you know, the struggles and strengths of both of these situations. So tune in for that. It's going to be a great show. But before we do that, of course, we have to hit our was it worth the macros. I have been finding a lot of good stuff lately, let me tell you. But today I am going to do the last one that I done on my TikTok. Anyway, so we'll see when this is released what will be my last one. But anyway, the latest one I did was the apple fritter Pop-Tart. I'm always browsing the Pop-Tart section to see if there's like new flavors because Pop-Tarts are delicious. And when I saw apple fritter, I'm like, sign me up because I love apple fritter things. How about you? Are you an apple fritter girl?
Oh my God, I just love anything that's like warm apples, like even apple cider, apple fritter, apple pie. Like I'm an apple girl.
Yes. Well, then let me say, I recommend these Pop-Tarts to you. Let me go over the macros real quick. I've got these right here. In case you are unaware, Pop-Tarts have horrible macros. They are not macro friendly at all, but they are a nice little treat if you want to fit one in. And heads up too, a serving size of Pop-Tarts is 2 pastries. And I want to let everyone know it is possible just to eat one out of the 2 pastries at a time. So if you want to indulge in this, the 2 pastries together are going to be 370 calories, 9 grams of fat, 69 grams of carbs, but 4 whole grams of protein for your dietary gains needs. So the Pop-Tarts themselves were fantastic. Of course, obviously, I put them in the toaster because, like, I don't know, I feel like people who can eat Pop-Tarts cold are psychopaths, but that might be a blanket statement for me, and I apologize. But I warmed it up, ate it. It was delicious. I don't know what I rated it on my TikTok, but I'd give it like a solid 8, 9 out of 10. My only critique is that it only had like a little streusel drizzle of icing on there, and I feel like it could have used a full smear of icing because I'm an icing whore.
Oh, yeah. Icing is absolutely essential on a Pop-Tart. I'm so disappointed when you pull one out of the package and it's like half iced. No, it's not even
worth it. I even go like a step further and I eat it upside down. Like I eat a Pop-Tart upside down so the icing hits my tongue.
Yes.
Because like, why
Same.
hit the roof of my mouth first? There's less taste buds up there. Hit my tongue. Just like, do you do that with rice cakes too? Salty side down?
Yes.
I don't know. It might be a weird bikini girl. But yeah, so if you're listening right now and you also do salty side down or good side down, comment below because, you know, I want to know if it's just us weird bikini people or if that's a normal person. I don't think it's a normal person thing. But anyway, okay, moving on. We got that taken care of. Oh, but do stay tuned on my TikTok because I do review the ranch dressing ice cream, which I haven't officially edited yet, but it has been tested and tasted, and that's all I'll say about that. But okay, moving on. Self-coaching versus getting a coach. Both Kiana and I have a little bit of experience. Kiana more so than I. So with me, well, let's talk about why one would self-coach. The obvious benefit of it is that you are not paying a coach, which when you are competing or even life in general, life gets expensive and you're constantly looking at places to cut costs. And this is a huge one because getting good quality coaching can be pricey. But so what was I know for me, that was my motivation to self-coach, but what was yours?
Yeah, that was the same for me, for self-coaching. I was going through, I think it was my second to last year of college. And so, college girl didn't have any money, um, and did a lot of research to get myself into the self-coaching. And that was my avenue. I DIY'd everything, my coaching, my hair, my tan, my makeup. And so that was all to save some money.
Yes, but you do have an awesome support system as well, right?
Yes, yes. My dad has been into bodybuilding for many, many years. And so coming into it, or for me coming into it, he had the background for the male bodybuilding aspect of the sport, but not necessarily the female aspect of the sport. So he, along with me, were digging and doing lots of research and figuring out how females compete and how it works and how the diet works. And so he was a really good support system there. And then my mom is also very into fitness and also has kind of that artistic eye, such as I do, to be able to look at posing and tweak and being able to look at what's aesthetically pleasing. So I was able to get the research help from dad and the posing and the artistic eye help from mom. So it was a great combo with the three of us.
I love it so much. Like, I love it so much to have like a whole family affair with it. That's awesome. Like, my family, they don't know anything about it. They're just so like, are you starving yourself again? Can you eat normal food? And I'm like, no, never. I can never eat. Just kidding. I do eat normal food. You all know I flexibly diet. So that's one of the biggest pros. The second pro I would say is like for you, you had the nutritional background. For me, when I was self-coaching, I felt like I did have enough of the educational background to coach myself. So it was like, okay. And I guess you could also say that it was on your time as well. And, you didn't have to wait for a trainer to do anything. So those are like probably just like the two benefits, but like in my personal opinion, I think there's more disadvantages to advantages for self-coaching, which is why I personally have a coach, and you changed to have a coach also. Yes. One of the biggest cons and one of the biggest things that I like give people kudos to who coach themselves is that you do not have that outside looking in opinion. If you've ever prepped or even if you've gone on a weight loss journey, I feel like you can definitely get in your own head and people could tell you all day you're looking great and you're losing weight, but like you're your own worst enemy. That's what I tell everybody. But so did you encounter a bit of that with your prep? Because let's be clear, you prepped yourself for your first bodybuilding competition.
Yes, yeah, it was really hard to be able to objectively look at myself and say, I'm either not pushing enough or potentially like pushing too hard and figuring out where the line was drawn in each of those two categories. And so what I was doing was I was taking progress photos and I was documenting all of my measurements and things like that. So it was much easier for me to look at the numbers on a spreadsheet than to objectively look at myself in the mirror. It's, some of that body dysmorphia where you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, there's a little bit of fat here and maybe a little fat there. And do I need to push harder? Or maybe I'm not big enough. So then it turns into this big mess. So towards the end of my prep coaching myself, I ended up stopping or how should I say that? I ended up no longer taking progress photos. And I was just going based on the numbers because I was really screwing myself up with that body dysmorphia situation. So I totally stopped those progress photos. And probably like the last 6 weeks or so was just numbers and data because I could no longer look at myself and decide if I was ready or not.
That is a total science girl answer. Like, screw the pictures, just give me the numbers, give me the spreadsheets, let's go. I feel it. And yeah, it's a very valid point. I can say when I was coaching myself as well. So with my story, I wasn't coaching myself for a prep. I was coaching myself coming out of a prep. So I'd done my very first bikini show. I was using an in-person trainer. And obviously that stuff's expensive. I had a 1-year-old. I just spent all this money on the competition. I was like, all right, like, thanks for the training. I'm not competing anymore, so I'll just train myself. And what I found is that I would go up to a machine and I would just start doing some reps. And then I would realize, like, halfway through, I'm like, if my goal is to do 12, like, I would have way more reps in reserve, and I wasn't really pushing myself to failure because I wouldn't know what weight to start at, which is, one of the things I love about the app now, coaching. We coach with the app and we also get coached by the app. And the great thing about that is that you have, when you go up to do an exercise, it's like, okay, you're going to do 12 reps. And then you can look and see, like, okay, well, last time I did 12 reps at 35 pounds or something. I'm going to try to start at 40 and see how that goes. And then you've got that progressive overload going right there. So that's like was so helpful for me, not to mention like, just, I like to be told what to do. I'm in the gym and like, I know that I didn't push myself hard enough as far as like difficulty of exercises. Cause I'm going to tell you something straight up. There's not box jumps in my programming. I'm not going to fucking do box jumps on my own. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do burpees. I would probably do, I've come a long way with Bulgarian split squats to the point where I know that I need them, but it's like, there are things that I wouldn't do if they weren't programmed for me. So that is one huge thing for me that Same. Is like, I like having somebody else pick my exercises for me because then it's going to be a whole lot harder of a workout, because I would say I would probably lean on not pushing myself hard enough. Although I've never put myself through a prep, which I would think if I were to put myself through a prep, I would probably push myself a little harder when it comes to like the cardio and such. And it's actually been very validating with working with Ryan, especially over the preps as we've gone together. I put my check-ins in, and I don't know if you do this as a coach, but in my head as a coach, I think like, okay, if I were my own coach, what would I do? Would I add cardio? Would I take away calories, or what would I do? Do you find yourself doing that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just like branching off of what you said, when I was putting myself through my own prep, I definitely was not doing enough volume, especially now that I know what type of volume I'm capable of doing in the gym and what I should be doing. When I was prepping myself, I was not doing enough volume, and I was pushing myself heavy with weights, but I just didn't have that outside person telling me, 3-4 more exercises is great. Couple more sets is great. It's you against yourself saying, can I do more? No, maybe not today, and I didn't have that visual in the app to be able to see, okay, I have to fill in these boxes with these reps and these sets that I'm completing. So I feel like I have definitely been pushed so much further working with Ryan to be able to have that volume and be able to continue on and grow and do all the cool things in bodybuilding. And yeah, definitely as a coach, like, I don't know, last week during my check-ins, I was asking Ryan, should we be doing cardio yet? And he said, well, if you want to dig your own grave. And as a coach, I'm thinking like, should I do cardio? I don't know. I feel like I maybe should, but I need to trust his eye, and I do trust him a lot. So whatever he says goes, and I'm just, staying in my lane and letting him handle that.
And honestly, as a coach, like, I feel like when it's crazy when your clients actually listen to you, what happens. Because, I have it on both ends. I have, clients that just don't, do what I tell them to. But then I have clients that are like, oh, by the way, I'm doing all this extra cardio. And it's like, why are you doing that extra cardio? That's going to affect things so much. Like, so I get that. But like, also you bring up a good point as well. The benefit of having a coach is like that outside accountability as well, because it's like,
Yes.
if you're in charge of your own workouts, not to mention your own nutrition, if you don't have someone to answer to say like, oh shit, by the way, coach, I ate everything on the Taco Bell menu last night. Like, then you're just going to keep on eating everything on the Taco Bell menu, because nobody's going to be like, yo, woman, what are your goals and why are you doing this to yourself? And really digging into like the deep mental part of things as well. So accountability is a huge pro as well.
Yes, accountability is huge, 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 huge.
Yeah, and not to mention set check-ins, because I don't know, you're probably pretty diligent as far as, how often did you do your check-ins when you were prepping yourself?
When I was prepping myself, so I started my prep 20 weeks out, and I would say I did check-ins with myself every week up until 6 weeks out. When I was 6 weeks out, then I started to just like transition into the weight and the measurements, and I didn't necessarily do posing and photos anymore, but I would do check-ins every week with myself, and I had this big spreadsheet situation that I made, and I would like chart everything and like make myself nice pretty graphs to see what it looked like, and like I did the whole thing, but took a lot of time to be able to not only do my own check-in and take those measurements and take the photos and the video, but then to also look at my previous measurements and my previous photos and compare it and see where I'm at and see what I needed to do. So, I mean, right now my check-ins with Brian probably take me like no more than, 5 to 10 minutes to get all my stuff together. Whereas if I was doing check-ins with myself, it was like a whole hour long situation to be able to get that together. So big difference.
And that actually, again, brings up a good point, not to come back to the app, but like the training app with Team Flex is legit like the tits, man. Like, it has everything all in one. It graphs everything for you. Your pictures, you can turn the phone and like, instead of making 1,000 picture collages, I don't know if that's what you had to do, but like you can turn the phone sideways and you can easily swipe to see like how you looked. Like, I find myself doing it too, because like it's not even like within this prep, but I like to see, okay, when I was, 10 weeks out last year, what did I look like versus this year? Because at the end of the day, bodybuilding, yes, trophies are cool, but for me, it's about beating myself and like knowing that I'm like looking better than I did the previous year over and over and over. And this like app makes it so easy. And I legit might marry the app if it were like an option to do so.
I love that. Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot easier. And something that I was thinking about when I was thinking about our topic to talk on the podcast today was that, your time is money. And if you are prepping yourself, it's going to take time, because you don't have access to an app or anything that's nicely put out for you, laid out, structured. You have to do that all yourself. And so it can be done, but it takes time. And if you think that maybe you're worth $30 an hour, I mean, then you're spending several hours trying to figure this out, and your time is your money. And so being able to invest into a coach gives you back your time to be able to apply yourself to other things. But that money, if your time is money, then that money's going to your coach. I mean, it's either your time or spending money for a coach. So I don't know. I was just thinking about that time is money for sure. And it takes a long time to prep yourself.
Well, yeah, not only that, you don't even account for like all the research you've done too. How many hours of research did you do trying to figure out like what you should be doing? Not to mention like analyzing your stats.
Yeah, I spent several months before deciding to do a prep, listening to podcast, YouTube videos, stalking other girls on Instagram, figuring out what they were doing for their preps, and trying to like, I guess, analyze and figure out what might be the best approach for me. And so that was a lot of time every single day listening to these podcasts, looking at resources, reading things, and before I even like decided to prep. And it was also, there was no direction on suits. How do you sign up for a show? Which division do I compete in? Which federation do I pick? And so that was more research as well. And then while I was prepping myself, being able to collect all that data, look at the data, make my macros and my meal plans. And then, when it came to show day, I had really no direction. So I just kind of winged it and hoped for the best. I kind of showed up and just like
ask you. Like, what did your peak week look like? Like, we know what we do for peak week on Team Flex, which isn't anything wild. Did you end up like doing anything wild for your peak week, or like what did your peak week and show day look like for you?
So I feel like I need to give a little bit of background on my digestive issues. So I have severe bloating all the time and lots of cramping pain, big whole slew of issues there. So I knew that I needed to cut back on a lot of my variety of foods that I was having to ensure that I wasn't having that bloating pain mess going on for show day. So the week of my show, I decided that chicken was safe. I decided that carrots were safe, oranges were safe, rice was safe, and oats were safe. And those were the foods that I stuck with during peak week. And I just kind of toggled my carbs during that week. So I did a front load with my carbs. And that front load was mostly consistent of rice. So my extra carbs were from rice. And then I had tapered back the carbs as I got closer to show. But I didn't do anything like super wild. Like I didn't manipulate sodium. I didn't manipulate water other than just not like inhaling a bunch of water on show day. So I didn't have to like pee 24/7. I didn't take like a shot of tequila before I got on stage. I didn't do anything wild like that.
That kills me. The drinking backstage, like you do it cool, but like inflammation. Anyway. So yeah. Oh, interesting.
That's pretty much how I conducted my peak week. And my peak weeks with Ryan have been much different than what I did with myself. Like I have a lot more variety, but I didn't know then what I could have and what would cause my GI problems just to be like a dumpster fire. So that's why I did it how I structured it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say too, like, I think it's a good experiment for everybody if you're a competitor, especially to like keep a food journal about how different foods make you feel, if they make you feel more gassy, if they make you feel more bloated, because those are the foods you want to remove during peak week, because to get the smallest waste possible, you want the optimal digestion. So that's a good point that you bring up there, especially if you have pre-existing issues, like you don't want to be eating those foods that are going to flare you up during peak week. And I think that's probably like the worst part of peak week. I remember back in 2021, I did back-to-back peak weeks, and they're not for the faint of heart. I'm like, how hard could it be? But like when you can't even eat like raw vegetables because they're just going to bloat you. And like it was the summer, so there was barbecues. I couldn't eat the hamburgers or the hot dogs or the buns. And I couldn't even eat the damn veggie tray. So it's like, knowing what bloats you, because I do know like what's in a veggie tray. We got broccoli and we've got cauliflower and we have carrots, which carrots usually don't, but just like the raw vegetables in general, you kind of want to stay away from because it takes a little bit more effort for your digestive system to break them down and things like that. So very good points there with the bloating, because you don't want to be bloated on stage. It's going to, if you're new to bikini, it's all about an illusion here. Like you want nice wide shoulders, tiny waist, nice big butt. So the smaller the waist, the bigger the shoulders and the butt look. So all an illusion. So now,
Yes.
Kiana, you're currently taking on clients, right? What kind of clients are you taking on with Team Flex?
Yes, I am currently taking both lifestyle clients and competitors, both male and female. So I have female competitors. I have one competitor who is currently 3 weeks out. So that is so exciting. So she will be my
Can't wait.
first competitor to step on stage. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And then I also have a male competitor working with me. And then my other clients are lifestyle clients. So I have a really big mix, a wide range of injuries and limitations, and also athletes that are an extreme high level. So I've got a big spectrum that I am coaching and also willing to take on and coach.
Nice. And you're actively looking to build up your roster, yes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I am accepting clients for coaching and yeah, I am willing or would love to have anyone reach out to me and talk about coaching and see if we would be a good fit.
Yes. And I mean, if you've listened to this podcast before, you know we have an amazing free week trial because I'll tell you, I don't know if you encounter this, but like when you tell someone like, oh, hey, I'm an online coach, they're just like, how does that work? And it is confusing to be like, how does an online coach work? And there's lots of questions, but with Team Flex, we can have you try it out for a week free. And it's legit with a real coach. It would be like with me or you or any of our awesome coaches. So like the fact that you can even do that for a week and experience what the workouts would be like for a week is, I think, just an awesome give back to our community. And we'll put the link in the description below if you want to try it out. It is legit complete free. Like it's not like, oh, hey, put your credit card in and after the 7 days we'll charge you. No, you don't have to put anything. We need a name and an email and that's it. And we will take you on this wonderful week-long journey. You'll be really sore more than likely, but it will be a good type of sore.
Yeah, no strings attached, no strings attached.
Yes, yes. Well, cool. Do you have anything else you want to add or anything that I didn't ask you about?
Um, I don't think so. Do you have anything to add?
That was a really long but no, I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, guys, if you guys want a part 2 of this, of course, leave your comments in the comment box below. Tag us, of course, if you're watching and listening. What's your Instagram handle?
Kiana, Kiana underscore Jens, Jens. And I love DMs and conversations and all of those good things. I am a super chatty person. So if you would like to reach out, I would love to talk to you.
Yes, awesome. Same here. We'll have Colin put those things in the whatever description thing. I'm not a boomer, but I feel like a boomer sometimes with technology. But Colin will put all that stuff in the comments below. Follow us, send us messages, and yeah, do a trial with one of us, any of us. We'd love to have you. And I think that ties it up. Thank you, Kiana, so much for being on the show.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I love chatting with you, and I'm so happy to be on the podcast today.
Yes, well, I appreciate you being here, and we'll catch you next week. I think Ryan might actually be back next week, but we'll see. If not, maybe I'll bring Kiana back on. Right.
I would love that.
Yes. All right. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.